Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today for yet another Second Life lifestyle video on something that I find interesting or helpful in some type of way. My name is Sandra and I cover all things in SL, usually lifestyle stuff. Today I am going to be talking about 5 things you should know about SL before joining the platform. They're kind of based on things that I wish I knew myself. And we're just going to kind of kick back and talk. Nothing overly exciting is going to happen in this video. Just some of my views about some things I learned and some things that I wish I knew when I first started myself. Yeah. All right. So, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys. So yeah, so I just thought I just felt like making a talking video. And it's been a while since I've made a talking one. So I made a couple points that I typed out. I'm going to be looking at those, but I'm also going to be talking on them. And also in the comment section, if you guys feel like, you know, you wish you knew something that I didn't cover here or whatever, please go ahead and leave it down below. It might actually help somebody out. We don't know, like maybe some newbies will watch this, maybe they won't. Either way, it's going to be a fun conversation, I think. All right, so some things that I wish that I knew before starting SL. All right, so one of the things when I first started SL was the making of the AVI. I did not understand at all what was involved, what a mesh body was, what a head was, why people would change them. Dressing AVI was very, very perplexing to me. I remember when I first started out that I had a system body. And of course, I'm coming into SL knowing nothing. So I didn't know that it was even called a system body. I didn't know what alpha layers were. And I was hanging out at a lot of newbie type sims that are supposed to help you and supposed to help answer questions about that stuff. And I remember looking back on it and thinking back on it. I was asking a lot of questions about like why I couldn't dress the AVI in certain clothes. And I remember mainly I wanted to change her shoes. I did not understand why I could not change her shoes. Now, looking back on it, I could tell you why. It's because I had a system AVI and I did not understand that I had to have alpha layers that changed the shoes. And I also knew nothing. I didn't realize that people bought mesh bodies. So there's that aspect of it. And it took me, well, I met my boyfriend and he did help me out a little bit with the, trying to understand the body and what fit, what didn't. I actually ended up buying my first body, which was a Laura body with a friend of mine, before I met my boyfriend, like maybe a couple weeks before I met my boyfriend. And I had a lot of people trying to explain to me what was going on, but I just didn't get it. But I did find out fairly quickly that clothing fit the Laura body a lot easier than the system body. But that was because I didn't understand alpha layers. Either way, that's one aspect that I never got it fully explained to me. And I think a lot of times when we're first starting a platform like this, that I would label as not being easy, that you get a lot of people explaining things to you. Um, and I will say this, that a lot of people are not, their calling in life is not to explain things. So a lot of times you're getting people explaining things to you that are not clear. And then on top of that, you're getting people trying to help you that may not be 100% clear on what to do themselves. I run into that a lot still on SL. That when you start to get into more complicated type things in SL and you're trying to ask, what should I do? How do you do this? What's wrong with what I'm doing? Can you put the steps down? A lot of people say they know how to do something, but they don't. And you have to keep all of this in mind when you're trying to figure things out. Yeah. So that was just something that really stuck in my mind. And all of these things are very connected to each other. Um, Something that also makes figuring out the AI stuff, sorry, something that makes it difficult to figure out the AVI stuff, in my opinion, is that people on SL are not as social as they used to be. So I think that's something important to keep in mind because you may be a newbie and you're on a platform that is labeled as a social platform, and then you're trying to ask people for help, and some people might help you, but there's going to be a certain segment of people that are not interested in helping. Um, and so it can be a little bit, uh, for a new person, it can be frustrating. And, I think that the main thing I would say is you got to hang in there, take things very slow. Um, don't worry about being one of those individuals that try to make an AVI complete in 3 days. Because even though having a cool looking AVI is nice, it's not everything, and there's nothing wrong with taking your time on it to figure things out as you go along, because that's what all of us have to do to some extent. Yeah. And then, of course, you have to consider that making a decent AVI takes money. You can't really swing it for free. Um, I say that you can. I've done videos on making an AVI free, but it takes a lot of knowledge and it is not easy. It's much easier when you're new to take your money, upload it on Tilia, get the lindens, and buy a couple things that you need to start off with. It's very difficult to do it 100% for free. Can it be done 100% for free? Yeah, but you really have to know what you're doing. It's not easy, and I never recommend newbies to do it because it's just so difficult and confusing because you don't really know the way things work and where things are located. It could be quite a handful to handle. Yeah. All right. And let's go on to the next thing here. And like I said, these are all very, very connected. And I'm trying so hard not to um, repeat myself. But number two, SL is not as social as it used to be. Now, I mentioned this for number one, but it is something that you seriously have to consider when you're on SL as far as making friends, hanging out, chatting. A lot of people that join SL, I feel, and again, this is coming from my perspective, my experience, or whatever, but a lot of people feel like when they join SL, that because it's a social platform, it's just going to happen automatically. Like it should happen. That's what the platform is based on. Everybody talks to each other. There's a lot of clubs. There's a lot of adult things to do. And why wouldn't people talk to each other? Like, why wouldn't they? There's a lot of shopping. And you see people around. I mean, there's people walking around, and you're like, why wouldn't we talk to each other? Well, the truth is, is that it's really important in SL, I think. Again, this is coming from my own perspective and my own opinions, but I feel like it's really important to find your own way, to know what you're interested in, and to lean more heavily on that rather than to find random friends. Again, this is just my opinion. If something else works out for you, then you do you, you know. But I really think it's helpful. And the main people that I talk to that have been on SL the longest, that have the best time on SL, just understand that it can be difficult to make friends, real friends, friends that you hang out with outside of the club or outside of, you know, the newbie platform that you're hanging out on or the beach. Um, people do hang out, they do, but it takes a while to get to know people and it takes a while to get to know good people. And, yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that is you got to give it time. I think a lot of people that I come across in SL that are newbies that are frustrated that have talked to me that they think it's going to happen immediately, like just because they get on the SL platform, that suddenly they're going to have a bunch of people to hang out with or live with or go shopping with or spend time with or what have you. And in reality, that's not really the reality. The reality is it takes a while to get to know people. And usually, if you do your thing, like say if you're into, hanging out at the beach, then the more you hang out at the beach, you will meet other people that hang out at the beach, and the odds are you may become friends. Or, like if you like to, I'm trying to figure out what people do in SL. If you like to go clubbing and listen to house music, the more you go to clubs and hang out at house music places, and the more you go out dancing, the odds are you're going to meet other similar minds that like to do that also. There's a SL.com forums and stuff where people talk to each other. Some people connect like that as far as having similar type hobbies and stuff. But I think the main thing that to take away from this, as far as my thoughts on it, is that it just takes time and you can't rush it. It does not happen automatically. Everyone has their own lives and kind of are dealing with their own insecurities or issues or hobbies, jobs, whatever. And you just have to, it works like real life. It just takes time. So there's that. All right. Goodness. Number two. Okay, so let's go to number three. Number three. All right. So um this is something I didn't realize at the time when I first got into SL. I did because I didn't know anything, you guys. I knew nothing at all. It was awful. Um Goodness, SL was so perplexing and confusing to me and so overwhelming. And I just really walked into it knowing nothing. There was a link on Facebook for Second Life, and I hit the link, and that's how I got into it. I No one told me about it. I didn't do it when I was younger. I just, I didn't know nothing about it, zero. So that was a difficult leap for me. All right, so but anyway, as far as number three goes, um, from my own perspective, SL is not very newbie based. Um, for much of SL, you have to kind of find your own path, your own way, meaning find what you're comfortable with, do your research online about Sims and stuff, use SL.com to read up on some stuff, ask questions on forums if that's a platform that you feel comfortable doing that on. And YouTube videos are a good way to kind of scratch the surface of SL so that you could kind of listen to what people are talking about, what they're doing. Even Second Life, the the um, the Second Life YouTube channel for Second Life itself covers a lot of Sims that are out there, and it'll give like the link to go to the Sim in world. And so that's a good way to find things or what have you, as far as things to do, places to go, exploring. But for the most part, and you know, I'm not, I almost hate to say this, but for the most part, newbie Sims, for the most part, are not really newbie Sims. You're finding out and figuring out a lot of stuff on your own. Many people will kind of connect with others, and those people will help them because we all need help at the beginning, but it can be a little bit daunting at first. And as long as you understand that and you kick back and you just kind of roll with it, the more you roll with it in SL, the more you just kind of let it happen, the easier it is on you. I'm telling you, the more you fight against the system, the harder it's going to be. So if you could just like roll with it, take your time, don't get stressed out over anything, it's going to make it a lot easier. Um, in SL, it can be difficult to find out what to do, when, why, where things are located at, like hangout sims, clubs, housing, fashion, where houses, like the houses themselves, where are the houses located at that you buy? All of these things can be daunting at first because it's just so much. But as you become more acquainted with your surroundings and understand some of the basics and take it slow, you'll find these things out as you go along. And the more you take your time and figure out what it is you're interested in, like if you want to buy a house, then you could go on the SL.com forums and you could ask ultra specific questions. The more specific you are, the easier it is on everybody, even those that are trying to help you and answer you. Like if you're looking for a house to buy, you could get on SL.com and just say, hey, does anybody have any suggestions of where I could go to buy a house? Just stuff like that. It's very trial and error, though, you guys, very trial and error. Um, and you will find that as a new person on the SL platform, you will find that a lot of the advanced players, again, this is based on my own experiences, okay? But a lot of the advanced players tend to hang out on their own because they have found their quote unquote place in SL. They have found where they are comfortable, where they like to hang out at, who they like to hang out with. And so for the most part, advanced players sometimes, many times, are difficult to locate on Sims or to ask questions of or whatever, because even when I'm on, like I label myself as an advanced player. So even when I'm on a beach hanging out or whatever, or a club, I'm usually on the beach with like a close friend of mine, and we're having a discussion or talking or getting ready to go somewhere. Like I'm not that, again, I'm only speaking for myself, only me, but I many times, if I'm at a certain location, I'm not really there to um, chat with a lot of new people because I'm not very chatty like that. Not really. I have a tight group of people, a few people that I'm very good friends with that know me really well. And those are kind of the people that I lean on in SL. And it's not that I never talk to new people, but it's just that it's not something I do all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't think that I'm that rare meaning that I think a lot of advanced players are kind of like that in their own way. Okay. So I'm not speaking for 100% of the people, but I'm just trying to tell you that, a lot of times that's what happens. And even as far as places to hang out, a lot of times I'm on group sims that I've paid for. So I'm not on the newbie sims or I'm not on the free sims. I'm kind of like off doing my own thing, So anyway, just to kind of explain the dynamic, I'm just trying to be open and explain things. All right, number four. All right. Again, all of these things are so interconnected, but finding your place in Second Life. Um, the If you find what you're into, like be it photography or decor, filming, clubbing, or if you're one of those individuals that want to find a job in world, like say if you want to do club promoting or DJing, or if you want to get into the creator world or what have you, you have to think about like kind of what you're interested in and lean on that, so again, this is just my own opinion. I think that the more people that find their kind of own thing where they feel comfortable, it makes it easier on you, because then you could kind of roll with it. Like, it doesn't have to be anything major. If you like going to the beach, and if that's where you're comfortable and that's where you like to be, and you like the water and you like to be in your bathing suit or whatever, then that's your thing. It doesn't have to be some crazy thing, but you just have to find where you're comfortable. Other people are more comfortable in a club setting, you know, listening to club music. It's whatever, because there's everything in SL. There's jazz clubs, country music, there's dancing, there's all kinds of stuff you could do. Yeah. All right. So number five, last thing, you guys. But I do think that this is important, and I think it's something that shouldn't be ignored. Is that some people try to kind of fight against this concept that Second Life is an adult platform. It just is. There are G-rated Sims, which means very non-adult. Um, there's G-rated, and then there's moderate, which is more like PG rated, meaning you might see a few more adult things, and then there's A rated, which means very adult, very, very adult. Like whatever you think of as very adult, that's what you're walking into there. Um, there are a few individuals that try to avoid fully adult Sims for their own personal reasons, which, is cool. It's because everybody, like I said, everybody has to do their own thing. But I do feel for the most part that on all Sims and all places in SL, you're going to be exposed to a certain amount of 18 plus type activities, be it from the way people are dressed or what people are saying to you, situations you might run into. It's just something to consider. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not saying either. What I'm saying is it's something to consider. And I do feel like that the more you're willing to accept this concept, it will make SL easier on you. Just meaning that it is what it is. You can't change it. That's just what happens. And if you're looking for a 100% G-rated sim where absolutely nothing at all ever happens that's not G-rated, what I'm saying is that's going to be a difficult thing to happen. um, but I think SL is a fantastic platform. There's a lot of interesting things on SL to do, a lot of interesting people, and I think the imagination that the creators use when they're making the Sims and things, there's some quite beautiful things to see and experience. A lot of people do like exploring throughout the SL platform, which I think is a great thing to do. I wish I did more of it myself. I don't, but I should. But yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is that just, you know, I think it's important to accept what the platform actually is. And the more willing people are to kind of roll with it and just know that, this is what you're walking into. And I think it makes it easier in the long run. That's all I'm saying. No one has to do anything they don't want to do. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I think it's important to understand the platform itself, and not fight against it. Because anytime you're fighting against something, it's not going to make it easy on you or anybody else around you. All right. Well, you guys, that was 5 things I wish I knew before starting SL platform. I really hope that if you're a newbie, that you just relax, take your time, and just don't get too frustrated with things in SL because like I said, what I'm trying to say things in the truest possible way in the as far as, how people react to things and, how people many times are into their own things. So a lot of times they might not be open to talking to new people and stuff. That just happens, just like real life. It just happens. And you just have to find people that you connect with that are into the same things you are. And then it can make SL a really interesting and fun place. Yeah. All right. So, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. And go ahead and leave comments down below if you feel like, like I said, like if I missed something or you want to add something or what have you, go ahead and do so. And I will go ahead and see you next time. Take care. Bye.